right, what's going on? This is Ugo, Opara, real estate agents, and we just had settlement today. And I know, clap it up. Y'all so quiet. It's your house. I got two clients right here, two buyers. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves and kind of talk about what they just bought and where. So go ahead, hit it.
Got you. My name is Joal Lashanda.
I'm with Shonda McCants.
Fiance and everything like that. We just bought a property in Southwest Philadelphia, and we are very excited about this new journey that we're about to take. But we're very fascinated and interested in really sharing our story and experience coming through the program with you all.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'll start first and everything. So for me, definitely starting the process of the program, coming to the orientation was definitely.
Wait, how'd you hear about NACA first?
Oh, so I heard about the program through my colleague. He told me about the program. I thought it was a scam.
Oh.
And it was still like talking through it. It was really unbelievable, like to think this type of program really existed. But really had to like take that step to really go to orientation and kind of see it for yourself. So once, of course, not going alone because I was like, yeah, I gotta take my fiance. And so we went together, heard about it, and so asked questions, and even then it was like, all right, so this is kind of legit. But for us, it was really figuring out where we, at that stage in our life, to really be like, is this the next step that we want to take?
Nice.
Are we able to? Is this go through this process, or do we feel prepared? And the answer was yes. This was a journey and a process that we knew would be frustrating, but as Beyonce says, is that we have to take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Your colleague already went through the program?
Our colleague already went through the program. So he already went through the program. He worked closely with Ugo, actually.
Yeah.
Highly recommended him. I highly recommend him as well. And so he has a house with his wife and everything like that.
And
newborn baby.
Yeah, he's 1 year old now.
Oh, he's not even new no more.
Yeah,
That's right. Time is flying. Man.
But he highly recommended the program. And so I felt even more confident with his referral to go through this program, and he gave me a heads up that it's going to be a headache, but at the end of the day, you get
it's going to be worth
it, and you get a house. And so we kept that in our mind as we went through it.
Got you. So all right, you heard about it from Corey, and then I went to the intake. Oh no, y'all went to the workshop. Yeah, workshop is always mandatory. So after that, I mean, what was it like for Matt to actually getting qualified? Because that's where people just start dying. People start falling off, disappearing, kidnap cases. Like, that's where people start falling off. So what were you guys' start process on that, and how were you guys able to successfully navigate through that?
So with NACA, they took into account, like, solely based on my income. And so it was definitely a lot. So with the documentation supporting docs, for me it's a little bit easier with like working at the job that I work at, getting my pay stubs. Like I only worked at one job, my experience wasn't as big, but it was infuriating a little bit when it came to like my living situation. And so for me, when it came to providing a document to show that you either are renting or live under some sort of paperwork to show that you're providing some sort of like monthly payment to a lender or a person or you. For me, my living situation is kind of unique where there was nothing really documented, and kind of talking with my coordinator, she understood it. But when it came to the underwriters and like not seeing it or not knowing me, in my situation, I was still not qualified. And so between navigating and having the request to come to the office and to provide documentation, for me, it was one thing for me is like, it's a lot. And so asking me to come from my job or take this time off to like, hey, can you swing by the office and do this, that, and third? For me, I just feel that the process could have been easier and streamlined if everything's electronic now. And so if there's something that if you request or need, hey, can you send this electronically and attach it? That makes it more convenient, more easier to be like, hey, I'm at my office, or can you send me over what you need and I can sign and scan back over to you. and do so, compared to taking time to travel from wherever you are to the office where that takes up majority of the day. And then by the time I leave, you might not have even got all the documentation you need and need me to come back and make the process longer.
It's a whole lot of back and forth going on when you in this process of owning a house. So
even with it came kind of to the end. From my experience, it actually came to the coordinator actually vouching for me, putting her name on the line to vouch that my situation is legit for the underwriters to even push me through.
Wow.
And so that was, for me, I kind of internalized and kind of had a lot of blame for my coordinator to be like, they're not on top of their game or it's something that they're doing. And come to find out, it's actually the underwriter still questioned my living situation. For me, it was just the fact that if my income checks out and you're looking at my pay stubs and bank statements and everything shows that everything's paid on time, that for a program that at the workshops that they say, hey, we view your behavior more than your credit or things like that, and your behavior to say that you're keeping up with payments and doing all those things. For my situation, for that to have shown and or to be evident or validated from my documentation, to still not be qualified, for that to from the underwriters kind of like throw me off and kind of made me question if this was something that I wanted to continue with.
Gotcha. It's interesting. I mean, everyone has that one. Because for me, the thing was I was self-employed,
Right.
so they're like, we don't know how much you make, because one month I might make like $50,000, then the next month I might make like $2. You know what I mean? So they're like, how are you gonna afford a house? And I'm just like, yo, like just, you know what I mean? So yeah, everyone has that one thing. And in your situation, I understand how, you know, if they're looking at behavior and everything checks out, and you know, no overdrafts, there's a saving pattern, the income is there. I mean, all that, and they're nitpicking on one thing that's almost irrelevant. And
right.
I completely understand the frustration.
And later on, find out as we went through the housing process of home searching, is that nitpicking, the time that's taken, you're losing out on possibly some properties, some deals and things like that, because it changes over time. And so when we start, even back to the process when we started orientation back in July, had a scheduled date, got called from the NACA office, had a scheduled date to come in August, called the day before to say, hey, I'm still scheduled to come in on this date. They're like, oh, no one called you. I'm like, I have the person's name, I have this date, like, I was set to come in. They was like, yeah, we didn't schedule you. The earliest we actually have is October. From August. And so even that time frame where we could have been started this process is...
It kind of put us on hold for a minute.
So, yeah.
Gotcha. All right, so you get qualified and you come into what is that? The purchase workshop.
The purchase workshop.
Then from there, so how was it once you were qualified, going through the purchase workshop, and then working with me, house hunting to getting under contract? How was that little stretch?
So at the beginning, even at the purchase workshop, a big thing I asked was, and I think a lot of us asked, was like some grants available. And so one thing that we were trying to figure out was like, how can we possibly get like additional resources or funding to help us with this home buying experience. An issue that I had was that wasn't like readily available for us as people are transitioning to purchase workshop. This is a new experience. This is something that we're not familiar with. And so for us to come into purchase workshop and at the end of it saying that this is something we have to kind of request instead of it being provided ahead of time is something that could even streamline the process. Say, hey, these are resources that are available. Come into the office and still working closely with people to helping them apply and things like that. And I understand we're trying to put the ownership as you're going through this process of like, you're about to own a home, you have to take initiative and do this stuff, but it kind of moved fast. It kind of went, okay, we're in the purchase workshop, and now it's like looking for a house. And working closely with you was always like, we're on the apps, we're looking at different properties, we're looking at pictures, we're falling in love with the pictures, but then we're doing background.
We can look at the descriptions and look at the square feet. It's not what we looking for.
So all that
great clients.
All that stuff is just like we're focused on like looking in terms of like the property, the neighborhoods we want to stay in. So that's really the focus. That's as we transition to purchase workshop, the grants and stuff like that. Kind of we lost sight of that because it was like we need to focus on probably like on the property that we want. And so if that was made available, that could have been like additional resources that we received.
Yeah, but grants was like a lot more work added to it when we was looking for houses too.
Right.
So it wasn't like an easy step to get grants either.
Right.
And I will say though that you guys bought in Philly and Philly sucks. I mean, grant wise they suck. They do have a lot of grants, but most of the grants would need you to leave the NACA program in order to take advantage of it. So.
Yeah, and y'all did say that.
Yeah, and that's right now first front door it's almost $5,000 that they're giving out, but you have to leave NACA and go through a different lender in order to qualify for that. So. That's why but I do understand what you're saying because I do have clients that buy in other areas like Upper Darby or Chester or Chester County where, I'll start them with like, you have to go to a housing counseling session over here with this program so that grant is ready for you right around the time you qualify. So I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, it kind of moved fast, and I think for us, we had a lot of fun.
We had a whole lot of fun.
It was fun. It was, when we got to the stage where we kind of found a house, it was like, also, our hearts kind of dropped when it was this house that we saw, and like, we was interested. We wasn't, like, we wanted to put offer in, but we was like, all right, we're going to go back for a second visit. And then 2 days later, it was like off the market, and we just sat there. Our hearts was like we looked at her like we can't believe that. I literally sat there just like, and she looked at me. I'm just looking like I can't believe it's off the market.
Yeah, but we found something else even better also. So we found our dream house. It has everything we asked for in it. So we still found something that it was very close to what we seen the first time, but much better.
Right. But one thing that Ugo always says, like, there's always a house out there, and so one thing we had to keep in mind is like not to settle. That even with the process of searching for houses, like really finding one that fits what you're looking for, not settling for anything less than that. And so we knew when we found the property that we did, it's like all the boxes just checked out.
Yeah.
And so we just, as we're going through, it was like, even like this is it. And we had that feeling. We was like, yep, we're going to offer it.
We want this one, please.
No more searching. We checked it out. We literally had a whole list, and everything was definitely checked off of it.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing on the list that was like, all right, that's not what we wanted, but we settled for it. But it was like we literally we got all this that we asked for, and we wanted, so we got everything. And even plus more with the basement.
Basement's fire. I was in there today. Fire.
Yeah. So, but that was the mortgage process. That was the mortgage transition. I would say from getting qualified to like this mortgage process was actually fun. Working with Ugo, seeing properties was fascinating to see what's out there and different things that's available, and like nitpick and say, hey, like this is something that we really like, and as we view more properties, like, you do a comparison, but really the thing is, like, you gotta go into the process and know kind of what it is that you want and what you're looking for. Right. And not let the picture fall in love with the pictures as Ugo said.
Yeah, that's a bad thing to fall in love to. You'll realize that's like, oh, that's not what I wanted. And then when you see it in person, it's not what you see in the pictures, because they could expand the picture, look even longer, and it's really short.
Harry Potter takes a picture.
Yeah.
That's how they do it, man.
Or you fall in love with the pictures, and then you see the neighborhood, and you're like, nah. And so you really got to do your homework and really see the neighborhood and really get a feel for it before.
Definitely.
I do want to add that one of the things that I love that they said the most is they started, when they were talking about house hunting, they mentioned not falling in love with the pictures, looking at square feet, checking out the areas, like all that stuff. Like these are things where, there's there, as you're buying, like doing all this research up front, especially the driving by, like I had one client where we went to go look at the house. She's like, "Oh, I didn't know that the train station was there." I'm like, "They didn't put it overnight like that, man.
Right.
Like, what do you want me to do?"
Right.
And she started laughing, but like just little stuff like that, because just like they were alluding to, like it's such a land grab right now. So I don't want to take you to go look at something when I could be taking a look at this that you could be putting an offer in, because it already, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to put that in there, but please continue.
So now the transition to closing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Once we're under contract, and I would say the beginning, as we're talking with Ugo and negotiating with the seller, that was actually fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad.
Ugo was a huge help with telling us what to say and how to make an offer and everything like that.
And even like, I would say another thing is like, as Ugo makes it, as you go through it, Ugo will make suggestions. And so the biggest thing is you have to, even with that process, you have to be comfortable with like, what it is that you really want, and kind of feel like good about your offer. Like he said, pick your best offer in, like understand that there are pros and cons that can go either way, but you have to be realistic and really make an offer that you feel confident in. And I would say, as I was negotiating with the seller, I took into account suggestions from Ugo, but even for me, it was like, I want this. And I'm going to I'm going to push forward, I'm going to take a chance, and then we'll take it from that step and move forward from there. And actually it turned out beautifully with that market, got the highest seller's assist in that market. And
time out real quick. This is what I love about y'all, yo. I just want to elaborate on how much that warms my heart, because before we put an offer in, we look at the market, we see what have similar houses sold for, and more importantly, what on average is the number of sellers assists that they're getting. Right. So he's able to make that statement because he remembers the market research. Yep. My job is done. I just want to put that out there. I'm a proud realtor.
And so we was very excited about that. We love the house. We love the sellers assist that we got. Yeah. And so everything was working beautifully. Went to correct access, transitioned to closing. And then we hit rock bottom, how I phrase it is that we fell into limbo as we went to the closing process. Everything got kind of put on halt. We didn't understand where we were in the process. I was getting documentation from Bank of America. I'm reaching out to my closing coordinator to try to figure out, hey, what's next steps? Anything that I need to do on my end? Can you go over the finances or the documentation with me? And I'm getting nothing. I got one response to kind of on the back end and say I got to do my second home inspection and requesting information that I already had sent in to Ugo in terms of my homeowner's insurance and things like that. And so for me, it just felt like that person was not on his game.
You hear that, Dwayne? I'm a name drop. You hear that, Dwayne? It's Dwayne, right?
No, it's Gary.
Gary, you brand new. What are you doing?
Yeah. So with that, it was just not on his game. I'm asking questions. I'm sending emails. I'm calling. It goes right to voicemail. Leave a message. I literally sent the email to introduce myself. Got one phone call back, and even then it's stuff that could have been corrected or addressed ahead of time in regards to numbers or buyers buy downs that I did not state that I was going to do, that I didn't agree to do. Later to come find out that those that impacted my closing date, that got delayed because of that. And so these are things that I figured that during the closing process could have been addressed early on and corrected. Absolutely. That our closing date that we was expressed to that we could have probably closed earlier.
Way earlier.
Because it was just moving fast. We were on top of our game and everything was fine.
We knocked out everything.
That this could have been addressed, and we could, even if we didn't close earlier, we could have still closed on time. And so that's where I feel like there was a lack of verbal communication from the parties that need it. So I shouldn't be having to contact Ugo, although he's my realtor and he's very knowledgeable. I'll go to him for anything. But if the transition from mortgage process to closing, I should be able to call into my closing coordinator and really have that discussion and understanding that they're walking through step by step with me along the way, so I understand what's expected of me as a buyer.
Right.
It's great feedback. Great feedback.
Yeah.
So then what? What after that? I mean, they got it right.
They got it right eventually. And so I definitely feel like when talking with Ronnie, when I think it was like 2 days.
2 days.
Before
Yeah.
we actually closed, and so I even then like Ronnie walked me through step by step, line by line on the Bank of America closing disclosure. Was like, oh, now I see it. Now I understand. Cool, fine. Let's move forward. And so made the corrections. They fixed it. Our interest rate, new interest rate got down to like I'm just 2.625
on a 30-year fix, baby. Y'all know rates went up twice.
They went up,
ran up twice. So they got under contract at 3.875. It immediately went up to 4, and now it's sitting at 4.125.
Whoa!
No,
okay. I know.
So I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
It was at 3.87.
3.875
for the longest.
For the longest, yeah, since November of last year.
So yeah, I'm happy about that. Even more. So got a great interest rate. We're closing today at settlement, and so we have the keys. We are ready to move in, and we are ready to
continue this journey.
Yep. And I just wanted to add, I don't know if I know they said it, but they're getting the house, and then after that, when are you getting married?
We are getting married in May.
In May. So it's just back to
back.
You know what I mean?
Stuff just keep piling on.
So good. So all right. So thank y'all so much. What advice would y'all give to either past you before even coming to the program? What would you have told yourself, like, yo, I've been through this, here's the advice that I can give to you, or just anyone that's watching this, is thinking about going through NACA, have the same fears of this is a scam, or they read a bad review, oh, this is going to take forever.
Right.
I mean, what advice would you give?
So I would say that it's definitely not a scam. It's a process.
Yes.
And so you have to take into account, like, just as we question ourselves at the beginning of orientation, it's like, are we ready for this process? Are we ready to take this journey to go through the steps? And really understanding and being real with yourself to say, for my finances and for my situation right now, do I have the ability where like this is a commitment? And so am I ready to make this commitment and this investment into my future, and this investment into property, this investment into a community, and you might not be right now. And that's fine.
It's okay.
And the biggest thing is like you have to be honest with yourself to see if you're ready to take that journey for yourself. For us, it was, are we ready to take that journey together? And moving forward with confidence and understand that there will be headaches, there will be mistakes. Things won't go exactly the way you won't you'll have heartache where like some properties will fall, go off the market. But the biggest thing is just having that drive to stick with it, to understand and make sure you have definitely a supporting cast member, or like supporting family or supporting friends, people behind you that will help you through the process, and being willing to ask questions, and working with a great real estate agent and things like that, like Ugo or any people within the NACA program. That will really help you and educate you on how this process works. And ask questions if you don't understand. Really ask questions. Even and I would say one thing, you can't get electronically or the questions are answered, call someone, talk with someone in person, really get the questions answered, so you really understand what you're getting into. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Also, to trust the process. Have patience, because we had to learn that a lot during this process, to have patience. And also, when you looking at houses and you look at the prices, if it's not in your price range, don't go off by living a fantasy. Like go by your reality, because it's going to be a lot more harder for you. So you want to go with your own dollar signs, not just like because the house is beautiful. Like you have to go with your own process, your own speed, and your own amount of money before you do anything like that.
Yeah, we all want to be the Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Cool. So that is a wrap. Thank y'all so much. And we are signing out.